Hello, weight loss challengers. So my name is Janelle, and this is week 5. We're going to talk to you tonight about carbs and fats. So there are two common things in our daily diet. I like to use the word diet as things that you're putting into your mouth. So not like being on a diet, right? But this is a lifestyle. So we've already tackled proteins, fiber, sugar. We tackled how many calories you should eat per day. The magic rules and lots of meal prepping and snack ideas for you guys. And I see that our group is really active in exercising, so we're going to touch a little bit on like what you should eat pre-workout as well. We'll get to that in the Facebook group this week too. So lots of stuff to cover, and carbs and fats is something that's really important because a lot of times when people go into a weight loss challenge or they start to think that they want to lose weight, the first thing they think of is carbs. Because an old history myth is like people think that they should do a low carb diet and they're going to lose weight, which it works. Yes, it's worked in the past. There's lots of things out there that show that it's worked for people. But then what happens is we start consuming more carbs and then our body reacts differently to them and we might gain some more weight back. And a lot of people can lose weight quickly if they go low carbs or no carbs and then gain it back real quickly as well. So what we want to do is prevent that. We want your body to be able to digest carbs properly and know which ones are good carbs because your body fuels off carbs. Your body gets energy from carbs. And so most of the time when you hear the word carb, you're probably picturing like starchy foods like noodles, breads, rice, cupcakes, potatoes, things like that, right? But you would just be as right if you thought of fruits and vegetables. And honey or jams, those things, even a glass of milk, those are all carbs. Some are good, some are bad. So we're going to go over them. We'll get started here talking about carbs. Tonight we're going to differentiate, why are complex carbs good and why are simple carbs bad. We'll let you know how many carbs you need to have a healthy, active lifestyle every day. We're also going to go over the workout stuff that I mentioned and then glycemic index. And I think that I have a few pictures about that in the slideshow tonight, but I'm going to do a live video later this week because there's a little bit more information that I could share with you guys about that and why it's important. And glycemic index is starting to be on food labels. So you'll see, oh, this is a low glycemic index item, and those are some things you might want to look for. So as you can see pictured here as well is, let's see if I can go back. An apple or a donut, both are carbs, right? So we just want to make sure we're differentiating which ones are good carbs. And obviously, I think most of you can pick the good carb here is going to be the apple, but we're going to tell you why. So good carbs are complex. They're harder to digest, and it burns calories when you do digest. So complex carbs, too, think of stuff that's hard to digest. Fiber. Fiber is hard to digest, but it's good for your digestion. So we covered that on week 3. It's going to keep you feeling fuller longer. Again, fiber. So a lot of your fiber things that we talked about, the beans, the legumes, the apples, the shell on the apple, the oatmeals, those are all actually carbs, but they're fiber as well. So it's kind of hearing the same thing here. They're a natural sugar. So you might see like even on the Herbalife label, it says fructose, and that is a naturally occurring fruit sugar. So an apple has sugar in it, yes. It can vary based on the size of the apple, the different type, but it's a natural sugar and that's okay for your body. Your body is not trained, but your body's equipped with all of its parts to know how to digest that sugar. So it's not going to give you a huge blood sugar spikes. It's used for energy, and low glycemic and helps you lose fat. Yes, that's what we want. So bad carbs is almost the complete opposite. I'm not going to read through the list right there, but the thing that you'll see on there is gives you a crash. So a lot of people have crashes in the afternoon. A lot of times when I start working with a client, I hear them say like the afternoons are terrible. They after work, after lunch, they got to go back to their desk and they just can't get through the day. We'll ask, what did you have for lunch? Well, it's usually a bag of chips, some Oreos, and a Mountain Dew, all bad carbs. So that's why they're getting a really high sugar spike and then a crash. Or if you're reaching for pizza, sandwiches with breads and crust, that's going to do the same thing. So one of my favorite tips about carbs is you should avoid foods that don't require to use your teeth because they're typically bad carbs. There's a few exceptions, of course, like shakes and bananas, stuff like that. But overall, like if it's a chip, think of that. The chip could melt in your mouth and you're not even going to know, your chip is going to melt in your mouth and you don't need teeth to eat it. So it's kind of funny. Cake, same thing. So think of that. But going over to this blue square here, good carbs are referred to as complex. Their chemical structure is fiber, and fiber require our bodies to work harder to digest that. The energy is released over a longer period of time. For the most part, good carbs are in their natural state, so they don't really need any modifications or, breads, whole grains, bread, cereals, and pastas. So why are they good? Because of the fiber. Low glycemic index. They help you feel fuller, so you consume less calories and naturally stimulate metabolism. So we talked about this in week 3, fiber. I think of oatmeal. I love putting oatmeal in my shake because it has so many benefits to your body. And it has calories though. So think about what you want in your lifestyle and what weighs more for you. So for me, I will take those extra calories when I'm even trying to maintain weight or lose weight, and the benefit is the fiber in my shake. So the benefit is also it's going to naturally stimulate my metabolism a little bit more. It has a low glycemic index. So all of those benefits. So you get to pick and choose. But we'll talk about fats at the end too. And Brian will go over that and talk about why fats are important. But also as you lay out your program, it's crucial to planning your days on what your food is going to be, because you don't want to have too many carbs in one day because you don't want too many high calories. It's very possible, and I went through a streak of this, of overeating healthy food. So I was going way over on my calories and I wasn't seeing results because I was eating larger portions and too many carbs in one day, too many fats in one day. So how many carbohydrates do you need? The way that you figure it out is you would take your calories. So let's just say a person with 1,600 calorie allowance a day, you would divide that in half. So 800 of your calories should technically come from carbs. Now, if you think of your colorful meal plate, you have a salad. Your lettuce is a carb. If you had like a quinoa on your salad, that's also a carb. Let's say you had some fruit on there, that's a carb. A salad dressing is a carb. And the only thing that's not a carb would be like if you had eggs or some chicken on your salad, right? So it sounds kind of crazy. And even when I was going over this, I thought like 800 calories that's a lot, but really it's not. And not all of them are going to be bad. So we want to try to train our brains to think that carbs are good. So you would take your 800 calories, and then from there, what you want to do is every carbohydrate has 4 calories. So you would divide that by 4. So a person with a 1,600 calorie limit for the day could have 200 grams of carbs. And tracking in your MyFitnessPal is going to be the easiest way for you to figure out how many carbs you're actually consuming in a day. So you don't want to be going over. I would say it's okay to go under on carbs as long as you're feeling good, because again, carbs is energy, good carbs. So don't be trying to pile up your plate with oatmeal and bread and telling yourself and that you need all this brand cereal and oats in your shake and every single shake and all that, because then you're not going to lose weight. So remember that fine line of balance. Figure out what amount of carb is good for you. And just reiterating, you guys, these pictures are great of these two women, and some people pile on the bad carbs, and this is what their body looks like. And they get into the mentality of like, oh, carbs are good. Okay, but pick your carbs and educate yourself. Go on Pinterest, go on Google, find good examples, make yourself a grocery list, know which carbs are good for you and why. So you go to the bread aisle, you can't just pick a bread and say bread is a good carb, because you got to look for certain ingredients in a bread. One of my ultimate favorites right now that I started because it's a very low glycemic index is Ezekiel bread. And it's considered a good complex carb, but it's very high in calories as well. So I will use that like a pre-workout, and I'll go over that with you guys in a live video later this week. But there's just a few tips. Brown rice, quinoa, barley, beans, nuts, seeds, oatmeal, sweet potatoes, fruits, vegetables, lettuce, all good carbs. Good carbohydrates will give you a little bit of a spike in your blood sugar, but your insulin also kicks in at the same time and then will stabilize your blood sugar hours after eating. So it's a slow digested carb. Bad carbs digest very quickly, and you get a big spike in your blood sugar about 30 minutes to 1 hour after consuming, and then typically you're going to bottom out. That's the crash about 4 hours later, 3 to 4 hours later. And what happens there when your blood sugars are unstable, going up and down, the food is stored as fat. So that's why people have a hard time losing fat off their body in their belly area or their legs or their arms. So we got to focus on keeping your blood sugar within a normal range. A great tip for that is, we're not checking our blood sugar, so we don't really know, but just start eliminating all those bad carbs. So glycemic index is very similar to this chart that's on the top here, and it talks about rapidly digested or absorbed carbs, and then a slow digested carb is going to give you that glycemic index kick in. So if you are looking for foods with low glycemic index, that's basically what's going to make you so your blood sugar doesn't spike. So think of a Jolly Rancher. If you eat a Jolly Rancher, you're going to have a really high blood sugar for about 30 minutes until your body releases some insulin to cover the sugar that's now in your blood. And, diabetics don't have that insulin released, and they have to use a synthetic insulin that they inject in their body. So this is all kind of relevant. If we have any diabetics that are in the challenge, you're probably feeling like this is all repetitive stuff for you guys, but little education there on blood sugar and why it's so important to understand what is happening on the insides of our body that we can't feel. We don't get to feel that unless we get really tired and feel the effects of a crash. But it's very important on how our body will store the carbohydrate that you eat. So do you want it stored as fat, or would you like to have stabilized blood sugars and it's burned as energy and used in your metabolism? Big differences. Again, take a screenshot. What are good carbs? Try to avoid all the things in the red. Those are bad carbs. And going over the fats will be in video 2. Brian is going to do an awesome job of talking to you guys about these fats that are on the screen and why they're good for you and which ones you should have in your body. So I hope that was helpful for you guys to learn a little bit more about carbs. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help implement some carbs into your program, figure out if you're having too many or too little. Because also some people, I didn't mention this, but some people don't lose weight because they don't have enough carbs. So I've worked with a few different clients on a weight loss mode where they're completely not eating carbs and they're eating too few of calories, and we implement some carbs into their diet and they start losing weight again. It just boosts up their metabolism a little bit. So it's very critical, and that's why you guys all have a coach. So every single one of you in this challenge has access to a coach. You're using Herbalife products. We do complimentary coaching on all aspects. You can have scans in the nutrition clubs. You can have personal conversations with us one-on-one. You can have access to all these group videos. You get to have access to our support online and our Facebook pages. And, call me. You have my phone number. You need it, message me. I am here to make sure all of you guys are successful. And every single one of you in this challenge has a coach. If you feel like you don't have a coach, reach out to me and I will be happy to give you some advice. So again, my name is Janelle, and I just want to remind you guys to kick butt this week. We have a little bit lower of attendance on the call last night. It was under 50%. You guys still have a chance to comment on this video. If you're watching it late, you'll probably understand that. But comment on the video to get some credit for this. But what's really important is that you guys are plugging in and implementing the stuff that you're learning throughout the challenge to create a healthy, active lifestyle for yourself and things that you can pass along to your friends and to your family. So I wish you guys all the best of luck in week 5. And next week, we're going to be talking about going out to eat, cheating, maintenance, how do you keep the weight off, how do you keep working with your coach, and what do you do if your friends and family are asking about your results, and how can you gain some incentives from your coach. So I think Amber might touch a little bit on that tonight, and we'll also go over that again next week. Have a great night, you guys. We'll talk to you soon.